Good afternoon.
Are you here to have fun?
No.
Well, that's the theme. We have been instructed by our magnificent director. If you're not having fun, you have no business being here. And if you're wrapped too tight, you're going to be really nervous. You have to learn to go with the flow.
Can't hear.
Is it on? Can you hear me? Are you having fun? Well, I can't see you, but I welcome you to our afternoon thespian reading program. First of all, I would like to give you a little behind the scenes how this play became. One of our residents discovered an old skit in someone's old trunk, and it was entitled Celebrate the Vision. They give it to the thespians, asked if we thought we could do something with it. Well, first of all, we needed a director. We called upon our favorite, Mr. Skip Clegg. We gathered the group around, and he said, hey, we can have a lot of fun with this. Now let's think about when it really began, and I want your ideas. Well, we have creative people, and he is a creative writer. Week after week, we would turn in yellow sheets of ideas, and he would gather them and meet with us from time to time. And then he presented us with a skit, and he would ask for our approval. That's how this became to be. And I have referred to it as Mr. Clegg gathering a lot of pieces and putting it into a patchwork quilt. So you are here to be wrapped in the joy of that quilt today. In your programs, you're going to notice there is an insert inviting your corrections, suggestions, and by all means, accolades. And if you would turn that in at the end of the program. I have two other announcements. Sadly to say, one of our main characters was omitted in our playbill this afternoon. That will be corrected by tonight. And it is our carpenter, Bob Ratliff. So we extend our apologies for that. The other thing that I would like to draw your attention to is acknowledgments for our director, Mr. Skip Clegg. And he has had many assistants, any thespian with a mind of their own and a suggestion, and he's been gracious enough to receive them. Our music is Virginia Stark on the piano. Your choir will be our own Hillcrest singers. Our lighting and sound, Lauren Newman and Willard Ressler. Our video is Willard Ressler and Beryl Fordyce, and publicity, Loida Arriaga. And I just would like you to give them all a hand of appreciation. Now, if you will please silence your telephones and be prepared to be wrapped in a wonderful quilt. We welcome you.
Are you going to turn the lights on? Careful. No. Oh, yeah.
Well, I've got another directorial assignment. It's in a town called Laverne, California. I think it's south or east of Pasadena. It's going to be another big show that I'm going to be working on, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'll try to keep you informed here on my cell phone as to all the things that are taking place, okay?
Doesn't sound like he's on. Is it turned on? So, are you...
So, I'm thinking, at this point in the show, the meeting house explodes with confetti coming down from the ceiling. And let's see, a 50-piece band marching right down the center of the aisle. And I don't know, maybe some dancing girls carrying a Hillcrest sign.
Excuse me.
Not now, I'm working here.
Well, I know, but I think you've forgotten something very important here.
Hey, that's a different look. Maybe the dancing girls can wear those. Where can I get those?
I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, what do you know? This is Hillcrest's 75th anniversary celebration, and I am the famous director, and you are in my way.
You're missing one of the basic tenets of the Brethren, the simple life.
What of it?
Well, the Brethren were founded in 1708 in Schwarzenau, Britain, Germany, and were founded in the belief of peace and honesty and charity and care for the sick and needy and back in those days, taking care of elderly parents was so important.
So, no band? Confetti? Light show?
No.
Dancing girls? Oh.
What do you think?
Well, what does this have to do with Hillcrest?
Give me a minute. The Brethren immigrated to America and brought their values with them. But as you know, the 19th century brought industrialization and urbanization with it. Care for elderly parents became hard. In 1875, at the annual meeting of the Brethren,
whereas it is not considered to be, according to the teachings of the New Testament and the example of Jesus, to keep our poor in the county poorhouse, is the church not under obligation, I say, to build a home to keep our poor and elderly in?
needless to say, they approved.
I wouldn't tell that guy no.
By 1908, the Brethren had 12 retirement homes.
Well, that was fast.
Today, there are 25. It's a commitment. And remember, they felt it was based on Scripture. And the Brethren lived to be real old. They don't smoke. They don't drink. They made Laverne a dry town. They work hard, read the Bible, and eat healthy. Except for ice cream. That might be their only vice.
Yeah. But we're here for Hillcrest.
No problem. Cast your mind back to 1907 here in California. There was interest in establishing a home out here. Reverend Philip A. Moore bequeathed $200 for a home. It was to be called the Golden State Home.
Not very catchy, and
It went nowhere. You see, the Brethren also believe in higher education. Everywhere they go, they build a college. Bridgewater, Elizabethtown, McPherson, and so on. Laverne College was also trying to raise money. So, by 1925, they had all of $487. There was always something. World War I, flu epidemic, depression, World War II, always something getting in the way.
so what are we celebrating?
Well, in 1945, a woman named Martha Lear was fed up with the delays and decided that something needed to be done. Got up a petition, personally went out and got 110 people to sign it and presented it to the Laverne Church Board. Now let's meet that board. Jesse Brandt, J.W. Mishler, Perry Schrock, J.O. Hennard, E.E. Ebersole, Lamar Bollinger, J. Ross Hanawalt, and Galen Ogden. J. Ross is wrapping up the meeting.
Well, that seems to be all the business for this meeting, except for a special request from one of the sisters. She's Reverend J.W. Lear's wife, and he's the executive director of the Western region. We could just ask her to talk to Ladies' Aid.
You mean Martha? We better not. Let her speak.
Martha, does your husband know you're doing this?
Well, I know it is unusual for a woman to meet with this board. My concern is about the churches taking care of orphans and elderly and needy elderly. In the early years in Germany, we did that. In the Mother Church of Germantown, Pennsylvania, there is an alms book from the 18th century covering 59 years of charitable care for widows and orphans. In 1907, the proposal was made for a Golden State home. In my hand is a petition signed by 110 Laverne Church members for this home. It reads so: "We, the undersigned, feel keenly the need for a home for our aged and infirm people. Do hereby petition our church board district conference to set up a committee, raise a fund, select a location, and build a suitable home to properly house and care for the comfort and necessities of our aged members as soon as conditions permit. Now is the time to act. Do you accept this petition?"
I would. She's scarier than the preacher we saw earlier.
Get used to it. Women starting things around here is going to be a running theme. They did, and the district approved it, setting up a committee led by Galen Walker. They called a special district meeting, and in 1947, it was approved.
Smart man.
Tough women. They convened a meeting, and Galen Walker took charge. We know Galen Walker as the father of Ruth Kurtz, who lives here at Hillcrest.
Well, the district meeting, please come to order. Our committee has been given the responsibility of seeking funds to seek a location and to build a home for the brethren elderly. Since this is our first meeting, we will dispense with the minutes. Our first item on our agenda for today is...
In my humble opinion, we should build that home in Laverne. We have more elderly people in Laverne than any other congregation. I think it should be built in Laverne.
Passed by unanimous vote.
And so it was decided. And now it was time to look for some land.
So, now we can bring in some high-powered lawyers and have some scenes of big-time negotiations, high tension.
Well, there was some negotiation, but not quite what you're thinking.
Don't tell me they traded like cows or something.
Well, close. Let's go back to 1947, and Laverne was slowly changing from a farming community and making houses for the rising population that was spilling out of Los Angeles.
Woo! Oh! What does that smell? Oh!
Well, remember, this was a time when Laverne was trying to change from a farming community to a suburban community. That smell is from the Lemon Grove and Chicken Ranch of Warren Crozier. J. Ross Hannawalt, who we've met before, was asked to acquire a location, and Crozier came to mind. We're in the field where Mr. Crozier is milking his cow.
What? No offices?
Nope.
Oh.
Right here. Let's listen.
Morning, Warren.
Oh, that you, Hannawalt?
Yeah, well, how's it going?
Oh, not too well. Hens aren't laying. City doesn't want me here anymore. Thinking about putting it up for sale and moving up to Padua Hills. Thinking of going down to Pomona this afternoon, put it in the hands of an agent.
You have a price on the place?
$18,000. Maybe a little high, but there'll be some selling expenses.
Warren, I want to tell you why I came by to see you this morning. I'm looking for a place to build an old folks home.
Old folks home? A lot of old folks around Laverne.
Yeah, a lot of old folks around here, and I've been asked to find a site for it.
It sounds like a good idea. Hannibal, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you people mean business, I'll cut my price to $12,500. I'd like to help out.
Warren, can you give me a couple days?
Yep, give you a couple days.
Thank you.
Hannah Walt drove to Glendora, met with Galen Walker, told him about the 6.5 acres and the price, and they raced to Laverne. Met Reverend Galen Ogden, pastor at Laverne, went to the First National Bank of Laverne, told their story, co-signed a note for the down payment. Done in hours. What is now called Hillcrest West was a reality.
Okay, yes. That's a story that we can use. Racing cars, high-speed negotiations. But nobody is going to believe the handshake and the cosign part.
Well, that's the way it was.
So, how did this place get its name? I mean, the hills are over there, not here, and they get called foothills. Seems like the name ought to be Foothill View or something.
Well, there are some thoughts about it, but no one seems to know for sure. Some credit Mrs. Josephine B. Hannawalt for it, but she modestly denied it. Might also have had something to do with the mission in Nigeria and the Hillcrest School. More likely as someone was inspired by the fact that the land here was slightly higher than that around it, and so Hillcrest.
Probably someone from Kansas or somewhere like that where any bump could be a hill.
All we know is the name stuck, and it was Hillcrest from then on. When the time came to clear the land purchased from Crozier, then Claire Hannawalt, in his early 20s, worked with his father, J. Ross, pulling up corn stalks. When Claire came to a few oak tree starts, he asked his dad if he should pull those. J. Ross said, "No, let them remain." Those oak tree starts grew into impressive oak trees over at Hillcrest West.
And so someone moved in. When?
Well, first, you need to hear about the 12 disciples.
Why? Those
Well-
are the followers of Jesus. Everyone knows that.
Well,
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, I thought you might like to know that there were 12 disciples here, and 11 are still here.
What?
If you know where to look, the 11 disciples are very tall palm trees standing on the west edge of the campus.
What? And the 12th one, hanged itself?
No, of course not. In the mid-'80s, Edison Electric wanted to take it down, and a lot of people in the city did too. But the residents here had a fit, and they rose up to stop the action, and they succeeded. The city did take down one of the trees, which became known as the Judas tree. The 11 disciples still stand to this day.
Okay. So that's kind of cool, but to repeat, and so someone moved in. When?
1949, the Decker Memorial Cottage duplex was dedicated, and Reverend E.W. Eby and his wife, missionaries from India, and Reverend Lear and Martha were the first to move in.
So, what did the city of Laverne think of Hillcrest as becoming a quote-unquote old people's city?
Laverne loved Hillcrest. Hillcrest took over a flood-prone easement bisected area and leveled the land, built access streets, curbs, sidewalks. For the city, the arrival of senior citizens increased business traffic, added employment, and helped the cultural life of Laverne without much increase in city expenses. What's not to love?
All right, all right, all right. So, Hillcrest gets...
Well, not exactly. sitting in now wasn't Hillcrest then.
What?
The original Hillcrest is now called Hillcrest West.
There are two?
The original Hillcrest was dedicated on November 11th, 1958 with cottages, courts, a manor, and a chapel.
Breedon Chapel. Who is that guy?
Yes, Breedon Chapel, named for Margaret Breedon, the wife of the first CEO, Earl Breedon.
They formed a Residents' Activities Council that planned prayer meetings, table games, music appreciation, a reading club, and all sorts of activities to keep the residents busy. You know what they say about idle hands. Oh, yeah. Then on Sundays, there were organ meditations and a worship service in the chapel. Busy, busy, busy.
Things moved quickly, and in 1960, groundbreaking for Hillcrest East occurred, and the dedication was June 11th, 1961. The demand was increasing quickly, and the building went quickly.
Who's that guy?
I am Chaplain Bill Willoughby. There are two chapels now, Breedon Chapel and Massey Chapel at East Hillcrest. 2 Sunday worship services, 2 Wednesday prayer meetings, just 2 part-time chaplains, that's me and my wife Lena, and too much running.
Eventually, the Breedon Chapel was torn down, and then termites and asbestos did in the Massey Chapel, so services were relocated to the Maurice Meltzer Lounge.
The day we moved was truly a day to remember. Former chaplains Bill and Lena Willoughby, chaplain interim and future chaplain Myrna Wheeler, and the whole congregation marched with me from Massey Chapel to Maurice Meltzer Lounge. I played and they sang. What else? When the saints go marching in, like this.
No one the saints go marching in, Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go
Okay. Now, you gotta like a guy who gets a lounge named after him. My kind of guy. A lounge to lounge with your name on it.
Well, let's not get too carried away. Maurice Meltzer was the CEO of Hillcrest from 1962 to 1982. During his time here, Hillcrest grew from 100 residents to 465, was part of the construction of living units and 34 assisted living units with the 81 units, and grew the assets from $2 million to $12 million, all while getting his BA and MA. No one knows why a lounge was named to honor him, because he certainly didn't spend much time lounging.
Well, maybe they did it to get his spirit to relax.
Funny. Anyway, there was a lot of building going on.
Yep, kept us working quite a while. From 1962 to 1976, 12 building projects were completed on the east side. Also opened a wood shop, too, in 61, something close to my heart, on the old shuffleboard court of donations from A.E. Richardson. Funny, you know, when you walk through the mall from east to west, you're walking on water. Yeah, the main line of the Colorado River runs under there, bringing water here. Ain't no other line bringing water other places. No wonder them their brethren thinks they can walk on water.
Walking on water.
Hey, would you like to do some
Cecil
shopping
B.
here?
DeMille, where are you? I'm looking for you, Cecil B. DeMille.
You want to do some shopping?
Oh, now, you're going to tell me that there's a shopping mall here?
No, but in 1965, the Benevolent Thrift Shop was opened and is still open today. Its first location was on B Street, and then it moved, but now it's back on B Street. And there's a gift shop here also. which opened in 1994 under the guidance of Juanita Lapp, a woman again, who wasn't a resident at the time, but now even as a resident, she runs it. And all these are run by the residents for the good of Hillcrest.
So, now you're going to tell me that these residents just volunteer their time to do retail work?
That's exactly what I'm going to tell you.
Don't let that get out.
Just wanted to let you know that people shop here more than you would think.
Yeah.
And anybody out there remember the Beanie Babies? In 2005, the gift shop sold over $40,000 worth of Beanie Babies to go to the Good Samaritan Fund.
No stockholders, right? Amazing. So, what else happens here?
Well, you remember what I told you about our running theme?
Oh, let me think. Oh yeah, the woman thing.
Yes, women making things happen. Let's listen to two people who made some appearances here in the early talent shows that were created and directed by Millie Davis.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi, Charlie Brown. What's going on?
Well, I don't seem to be doing much of anything very well. Well, here's your nickel. Now what do I do?
Well, talking about your troubles often helps, so sit down. Now, I think the best thing for you, Charlie Brown, would be to come right out and admit everything that's wrong with you.
Well, I'm not very good at games like checkers or football. I'm terrible at parties. I forget things, and I'm clumsy.
Well, that's pretty good for a starter.
A starter?
Well, certainly. To do any good, Charlie Brown, you really got to dig deep. Like, you're stupid. You're self-centered. And you're moody.
Well, I am moody.
And you're terribly dull to be with.
Oh, well, yes, I am. Nobody likes me. Not Linus or Schroeder or Pigpen.
Or Lucy.
Or Lucy.
Or Snoopy.
Now, wait a minute. Snoopy likes me.
No, he only pretends. That's because you feed him. That doesn't count.
Or Snoopy. But why was I born to be so nothing?
Well, wait. There's hope.
There's hope?
Yes. There's no one else like you. You are the singular, remarkable, and unique Charlie Brown.
I'm me.
Yes. And for whatever it's worth, Charlie Brown, you're you.
Gosh, Lucy, I'm beginning to feel better already. Lucy, you're a real friend.
Okay, now let's move on to something else. I want you to know about a very important person.
Like that little red-headed girl?
No, Charlie Brown. I want to tell you about Ethel Benjamin. Who? Ethel Benjamin. Like all of us powerful women, she could have been queen. But instead, she became Hillcrest's first social director, activities director.
Well, is that like a queen?
No. She created trips, classes, book reviews, parties, special events, holiday programs, style shows, and why we're here. Talent shows for talented people like me.
Good grief. She did all that?
Are you listening, Charlie Brown? She even started the country fair, the biggest event of the year. I just love powerful women like me.
So what?
Thank you, Charlie and Lucy. Yes, the country fair.
But we're in Southern California, not what you would call country.
Well, if you're around Hillcrest in October, you'd think you were in the country. The fair is truly part of the fabric of Hillcrest. It started 60 years ago and is run by the Hillcrest Residents Association, and all the proceeds go to the Good Samaritan Fund.
Wait a minute. First disciples and now Samaritans. What is going on around here?
Not to worry, it's all part of the atmosphere here. The Good Samaritan Fund supports elderly folks who live in the communities surrounding Hillcrest and have run out of funds to cover the cost of skilled nursing in the health center. All sorts of bargains to be had there at the county fair. And the residents here plan, help arrange, and then help with selling. And now the Hillcrest staff helps right along with the Residents Association.
Okay. So I'll bring my overalls and boots. Say, it occurred to me, old folks' health. What's going on around here for that? And don't tell me that it has to deal with walking on water.
Well, not at all. In 1967, the decision was made to open a convalescent home right here at Hillcrest, and it opened in 1969.
Keeping that carpenter guy busy, huh?
Yep. The building was financed by a large gift from Mr. and Mrs. Guy Lewis, who wanted it named Woods Memorial after her parents.
Wait, they gave a lot of money and they didn't want a name for them? That's different.
Well, when you drove in, you probably drove on Lewis Drive. That was them.
Got it.
Woods has since grown to include physical therapy and a memory unit, all part of the services offered here. For 24 years, a woman...
Oh, there's that theme again.
Good. Just thought I'd hit you with that theme again.
Well, okay. So what now?
Well, a woman named Mary Neer, an RN, watched over the care of the residents and set precedents for the quality of care here as the longest tenured nurse and quality assurance coordinator.
Well, what else have you got to share?
Well, I think you're catching on to the theme.
Like what?
Well, in 1970, the auxiliary was formed for the purpose of creating and maintaining a happy and satisfying experience for the residents. Initially, it was called the Women's Auxiliary, but they changed the name so that everyone could be a part of it. You just show up, pay your dues, or make a donation. It couldn't be easier, and you're a member. They have general meetings and committees who look around the place for things that might need doing or improving.
Like what?
Well, over the years, they've provided support for the health services, provided benches, dog stations, recycling cans, and all sorts of other things. And the work just keeps on keeping on.
Sounds like a busy group. You're making me tired.
You think you're tired? Well, the building just kept going. During the 70s and 80s, we built something like 28 new apartments and added the woods. Y'all are wearing me out. I do like that music, though. Kind of restful.
Nice music. So, I suppose this is going to be another woman thing?
Well, in the 1980s, a woman named Lucille Root helped form a group called the Hillcrest Singers. She was aware, as were some others, that there might be folks around Hillcrest who might like to sing and perform. These are the kind of folks who probably sang in church. When she finished as director, David Young took over, and then Ernestine Emmerich, Ruth Leininger, and the Hillcrest Singers continue to this day. Now they are led by Deb Wass.
Hillcrest is such a remarkable place for the young mind. Yes, beneath those presents and the roof of hills where none reach far. People are active, creative, and curious, living in struggle. Live out your dreams in both comfort and joy of the Hillcrest.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Well, Hillcresters take a lot of pride in what they do.
Hey, I've heard through the grapevine that there were Hillcresters who went to prison.
Well, they did, but not the way you're thinking. You're hearing about the amazing Afflerbaugh program that was developed right here.
So, no Hillcresters in stripes?
No, just Hillcrest folks reaching out to try and make the world a little better place. It was called the Afflerbaugh Intergenerational Program. It was started by Virginia Allen. She was the driving force of the creation and continuation of the program.
That theme again.
Thank you for your interest in helping the boys at the Afflerbaugh probation camp. I believe that from that we will all benefit from getting acquainted with each other.
These are juvenile delinquents. Why do we want to get involved with them?
Now, wait just a minute.
Leave the delinquents alone. They can't
Let
be
me
taught
share
anything
about
anyway.
some of the possibilities of this program. First of all, we will not be teaching academic curriculum. Our focus will be relationships between us and the boys, teaching them that someone cares about them, that we care about them. It also will give them an opportunity to develop their social skills and help building their feelings of self-worth.
Well, this might sound silly, but my grandchildren really enjoy playing board games with me. Maybe board games could be one of the activities.
I like to read poetry, and I think those boys would enjoy also reading poetry.
What about partnering up? We each take a boy as a partner. That would help the relationship thing.
Maybe we could even be pals with one of the boys.
Well, you're such a great, it's exciting. You people have such great ideas. But let's do some planning, and then we'll go to the probation office and say, we want to try this thing.
That was the beginning of a program that spanned 15 years, had a total of 62 Hillcrest volunteers, and provided service to 1,500 boys. She was the driving force behind the program.
Virginia Allen and Hillcrest received recognition from the city of Laverne, the county of Los Angeles, and many aging services in the community.
Awards. People like award shows. Now, we've got something.
Let's not get carried away. No one here cares about that, just that service was done.
Hey, everybody. I'm back. I just can't get a break around here.
Well, go right ahead. Tell us about all the buildings.
Well, in the mid-1990s, the Southwoods Lodge was added. Then later we added the Village Center, Park Avenue Homes, Phase 1, 2, and 3. Then there was Village Center, Aqua Fitness Center, Pinecrest, and Birch Court. Then there was Lofts, Maple Court. Building and building. Place just trying to wear me out. I need a break now.
This place just keeps growing and growing.
A couple of fun things right here. The Aquatic Center has a beautiful pool, but there was an interesting one before that. There was the first one that appeared here.
That's our pool?
It looks like a hole in the ground.
It is. When they dug the basement for the new Village Center building and fitness center, it rained hard and filled the hole. Many of the residents referred to it as Hillcrest's new swimming pool.
I think I'll wait for the new one.
I'd love to have seen someone take a plunge in that one.
And then there's this beautiful meeting house we're standing in right now.
It is nice. So, give me the lowdown. The residents loved it, and the shows began to be staged.
No, just the opposite. There were some residents that were so mad they decided to boycott anything that was put on here. And then came MAD, MAD.
All right. Now we're talking. Secret organizations. Intrigue.
I don't think it goes quite that far. There were 3 men, and they used the first initial of each of their first names to name themselves. M, Marlon Heckman. A, Al Eisenwinter. D, Don Wickard. M-A-D, MAD. They thought it was a shame to waste this wonderful space and started bringing programs here. And the residents couldn't resist, and the boycott went away. In many ways, these men, Marlon, Al, and Don, MAD, were the precursors to the Cultural Arts Society.
The what?
The Cultural Arts Society. You remember our visit from Lucy and Charlie Brown? Well, that talent show gave birth to the idea of Hillcrest working to develop the appreciation and growth of the arts here in Laverne and the surrounding area. Hillcrest residents and staff, representatives from the University of Laverne, and the community came together to form the Cultural Arts Society of Laverne in 2009.
So, you're telling me that there's culture here?
Absolutely. The society brings in 4 major shows a year right in this building, including jazz, opera, dance, pop, orchestral, classical, all sorts of things. And the money from ticket sales goes out into the community and supports art programs and development in the schools and community.
And don't forget the development of the gallery right here at Hillcrest in this building. It showcases 4 exhibits of local artists or school programs each year. There's an exhibit called The Story of Laverne, which is toured by Laverne 3rd graders from all over the Bonita Unified School District.
Okay. You know that I just love the arts. Now, I like the Mad Men thing. Is this another example of the main theme?
Yep. One of the driving forces behind the society is Barbara Smythe, who was the first chair from 2009 to 2018. And then she handed it off to Deb Was in 2018. But don't think Barbara was done. She still directs the gallery.
Wait, I've heard that Was name before.
Yes, remember the choir? I'd say these two women fit in our theme, wouldn't you?
No question.
Let's take a trip down memory lane.
I like that lane.
Ever seen one of these?
Can't say as I have. Oh.
That's a smudge pot. I remember those things. Back when this Hillcrest area was nothing but a grove of citrus groves, men like me would get up early in the morning, work these groves, filling those with crude oil and lighting them. Made a dark smoke that kept the groves warm. Stunk like the devil, too. I remember when this whole valley was nothing but a gray smoke, and it stunk real bad. You should have seen us when we got home. You'd smell us before you'd see us, so.
That was part of our life in this area. Let's get back on the road of our tour.
Speaking of roads, in 2000, it was determined that there was a need for transportation for the residents around here.
I like that. Roads, transportation. You two plan that?
No. Anyway, a program was created and transportation was started. An early development was, ask any Hillcrest resident about it, the Jolly Trolley.
Yes, the Jolly Trolley is well known around here. It was donated by Bill and Carol Bruns, an interesting couple. They both followed the stock exchange and got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And they really needed some coffee, and they thought, there's probably others who want coffee too. So they started the Friday morning coffee hour, and sometimes there was 50 people there. Now, it's died off a little, but it's still here.
Now, before you get all up in the air, they lived on the west side campus and needed to get to the east campus, and they figured a lot of other people did too, so they did something about it and donated what we call the Jolly Trolley to get back and forth, and it's still in use.
Remember our carpenter friend and the building that went on? The Bruns wanted to be the first residents to live in the new lofts, and they were. Very active couple around here.
I'm beginning to get a picture that the residents around here do quite a bit to make their home better. One thing, is there something about all the same names around here?
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Who's she? Who is she?
Just listen.
I want to introduce you to a new resident, Yvonne Davis.
Hi, Yvonne.
We want Yvonne to feel at home here at Hillcrest, so I'm going to tell her about some of you. There's Daryl Brandt and his wife Nancy, Hillcrest residents. His sister Bernie Pence and her husband Jerry, also residents. Their daughter Christine and her husband Jack Meek, both on the board. Bernie and Daryl's sister Dorothy Davis is the mother of Eric Davis, the artist, and Muir Davis, the city councilman, as the widow of Rodney Davis, who was the brother of Chuck Davis, Hillcrest residents, and Virginia Stark, also a resident. Millie Davis is Chuck's wife, and their son Robbie Davis, our security officer. But you probably already know all this, right, Yvonne? Which branch of the Davis clan are you?
What? Weird. She must be kidding. Impossible. Can't be.
I don't think they believe me.
They're just a little surprised, that's all. It seems like everybody here is related somehow. It's an old brethren thing. Just be careful what you say and to whom you say it. You might be talking about someone's brother, sister, fourth cousin once removed.
Welcome to Hillcrest.
Wow. Oh, Chuck Davis. And that Davis. Related to this Davis. And that Davis. But she's not any Davis. Oh, I am lost. How do you keep all of this straight?
Practice. practice, lots and lots of practice. Would you like to go over to the Galen Walker boardroom for a minute to clear your head?
Wait, I remember that name. We met him a while back, huh?
Mm-hmm. He was pastor of the Laverne Church of the Brethren until 1944, at the beginning of all this, and was the one who pushed the building of Hillcrest here in Laverne. He also served as the first president of the Hillcrest Board of Directors from 1947 to 1954. Seems fitting that his name be remembered here. It's right over there.
Well, agreed. Hey, did you know that there's a dog here? Am I missing something?
Not at all. Hillcrest is a pet-friendly campus. Ernestine Emmerich, who wanted to have her cats with her here at Hillcrest, began advocating for pets on site. This caught the ear in 1991 of a certain animal lover and CEO's assistant who thought the residents here might enjoy having pets and that the residents might benefit by having little buddies with them. Karen Klobes then advocated for the inclusion of pets with the CEO at the time, Chuck Cable. Chuck came to see the wisdom of her arguments and cleared the way with the board of directors, and here we are. In 2007, pets made their first appearance in a brochure, and now there's a population of 50 pets living here.
There's even a play yard for them, appropriate named Karen's Critters, and those residents who enjoy their pets thank her.
And before you say it, there's our theme again.
Good for you. Absolutely.
Say, I heard somewhere around here about a library with curved shelves. You're kidding, right?
Nope, and we had the man who knew how to put books on them. Marlon Heckman built quite a library here and had to master the art of curved bookshelves. He was just the right man for the job. He was a first-class library man, and today, if you want to read more about the 7 elements of wellness, check out one of over 2,500 books at the Marlon Heckman Wellness Library, housed at the Aquatic Fitness Center.
When we're done, can we go and see those curved shelves?
Absolutely. And I would like to point out that one of the reasons for the growth and success of Hillcrest is the quality and stability of the leadership here. Hillcrest has only had 5 CEOs in its history.
They are W. Earl Breon, 1953 to 1958. Marion Roynan, 1958 to 1962. Maurice Meltzer, 1962 to 1983. Charles Cable, 1983 to 2009. And Matthew Neely, 2009 to the present. Their commitment and leadership have been instrumental in the development of Hillcrest.
And this able group was always supported by a competent board of directors. In fact, I'm standing between 2 of them now.
Well, good leadership is hard to find. Any business person can tell you that. Naturally, they have to go on today and get an MBA. They have to go out there as an intern. And then they have to take all kinds of classes in leadership skills to see what they can really... Ah! What's that? Ah! Ah!
Brown bear, what did you see?
I saw Woods residents looking at me.
Residents, what did you see?
They saw a brown bear headed for the AFC. Swimmers, what did you see?
We saw a brown bear looking at me.
And a paw print on the AFC?
On the way west?
I shouldn't.
Whoa.
I should just say it. West side, what did you see?
We saw a brown bear on Sharon's lawn.
Sharon Wright, what did you see?
I saw police putting a bear to sleep and taking him away.
Brown bear, what do you think?
I made the news and caused quite a stink.
Really? Here?
Well, we are pet friendly, and we have lots of visitors.
Okay. One more thing. What about you?
What?
Come on. You're not real. I'm not real. She's not real. Where did this come from?
Oh, I get it. Well, remember, we talked about the variety shows put together by Millie Davis way back that included Charlie Brown. Well, from that, a full script for a Peanuts play was put together called Is This Goodbye, Charlie Brown? Produced and directed by Gladys Olson and Jenny Gillette, and a group came together and formed the Senior Playhouse Thespians.
In 16 years, it has presented a wide variety of plays and featured the talents of many Hillcrest residents. At least once a year, through 2013, a play was written and produced by Hillcrest resident Dr. Roger McDonald. Jan Hogan and Chuck Boyer also wrote plays for the group. The Thespians have had many people involved both on and off the stage. Just recently, the Thespians lost one of their primary scenery artists in Jan Hogan.
And, of course, you know that thespian is another word for actor. Named after the ancient Greek actor Thespis, who was the first known actor.
Well, that is interesting. Getting back to the many people who have been involved.
One that comes to mind is Jim Eikenberry, who had a lot of impact here in many ways, including being chair of the board. He was involved in so many things. He worked at the thrift shop every day it was opened and delivered and moved things well into his 90s.
He worked with the Thespians setting up the stage and would take occasional roles, and he'd carry things up from the basement. And then in a show which had Al Eisenwinter, one of the drivers of the Thespians, in the lead with Sharon Wright. Al's role was long and complicated, and so Jim was asked, because he was always around, to be his understudy. Well, Jim didn't worry about that because Al was always prepared and he always came.
That's Al of Mad, right?
Right.
I'm liking that guy.
And then appendicitis took Al out of the show. And as the person he always was, Jim stepped in and a star was born. Jim continued to perform and turned out to be quite the comic actor. That was our Jim.
Now the president of the Thespians is Laura Lee Russell, who succeeded Beryl Fordyce, who also directed many thespian plays, and the show continues on.
Of course they do. Theater must go on. So, I think I've got this now. This place is a result of the belief of the Church of the Brethren that the elderly were to be cared for.
And driven here by the fire and spirit of brother and sister Martha Lear.
And founded on a formula for success. Find a need, fill it. Care for the elderly and poor. Find a hurt, heal it. Care for the aged and ill. Have a dream, build it.
The vision was fertilized and realized in a barnyard one morning at milking time.
Land purchased, building began.
Growing pains of success and failures over these 75 years have created this place.
And have brought us to this day.
And we continue with the same vision.
Find a need.
Find a hurt.
Have a dream.
To all those dreamers who brought us here,
we celebrate and thank you.
Come
join us.
Come join us.
another thing, everybody. We've got a director here now who has directed 3 different productions at Hillcrest. The first one was on The Bus Driver. The second one was on the 100th anniversary of changing the name of Lordsburg to Laverne. And now we have the history of Hillcrest and the vision for Hillcrest. Let's have a nice hand for our director, Skip Clay. Skip is up in the control booth, and his assistant director, as she filled in over and over for Skip, Beryl Fordyce. Let's have a nice hand for Beryl.
Maurice.
And our accompanist, Virginia Stark, right here.
And our
the Hillcrest Singers. Thank you again for coming, everybody. And we do have a great vision at Hillcrest. Thank you.